Hello everyone, this is me Swanshu here, and today we will be talking some things about multiple choice questions. In one of the previous videos we talked about how to solve multiple choice questions, but in this video we will be talking about how you can grab information from studying from the multiple choice questions. Whenever you start preparing for exam, everyone, even your seniors and even your teachers, will advise you to study from the previous year questions. And the reason is very simple. The questions are not just made by random people, they are made by professionals. Each and every question has small little details which you miss out or you can miss out while just reading the question. Let's say for an example, I have copied out some questions from the NEET 2016, and I will be using them to explain some of my points about how you can study from them. First of all, you should try to grab as much as information you can grab from the question itself without even asking about or thinking about what the question is asking. Just look at the things that question is telling you and just try to understand what he's trying to say. Now, in this question, it was from physics section. The first question says Planck's constant bracket h. What does it mean? It means that the formula that the symbol we represent for Planck's constant is h. I know that most of you know that, but maybe some of you don't know that. Speed of light in vacuum is c. Newton's gravitational constant is g. We all know that gravitational constant is g, but Newton's gravitational constant, maybe this is new for some people. Keep in mind that gravitational constant is also known as Newton's gravitational constant, and it is also known as universal gravitational constant. So they might play some games with you and make you confused with these things. This is the information you can get from the question itself by just the things they are telling you. Now, how do you approach to the question? You first read the question, you think in your mind what could be the possible answer. You solve it on the paper, and then you look at the options, and then you match it with one of the options. Sorry about that. You match it with one of the options, and if it's correct, then you are good to go. The next question, let's say it is from chemistry. The question here says which of the following compounds shows the presence of intramolecular hydrogen bond. Now what can you get from this type of question? Now it is asking you a type of hydrogen bond. So immediately the thing that should come to your mind is what types of hydrogen bond do I know? Intramolecular, he's asking. Intermolecular, there could be. So immediately you should try to recall all the types of hydrogen bond you know and all the examples of each type, because keeping in mind that every year almost many questions are repeated, not the same question, but the pattern and the topic is almost every year repeated. So in this question, what you do is, as soon as you read the question, you think about the type of hydrogen bonds you know, and you think about the examples of each type, and then you look at the options and then see which one of the following is the intramolecular hydrogen bond. Let's say, uh, if you can come to the correct answer, then that's good. But you should also look at the other three options, and you should also try to think to yourself that what are the other three types of bonding, because they might ask that. Always look at all the four options and not just the answer. While attempting the question, yes, you'll only look at the answer then attempt because you have less time. But this is what I'm talking about when you are studying. When you are studying, you have a lot of time. You have to give time to the questions so that you can master the questions and not just solve them. Now, the next question is, there are many and many types of questions which they ask in the exam about which of the following statement is wrong. So these types of questions are the things which will give you most information so that you can learn from, because in this only one statement will be wrong and the rest three will be right. So even if you don't even if you learn just the three statements of the MCQ, then also you can solve the next three questions of the same type if they ask it in a different way. Now in this question it is asking me which of the following is wrong for fungi. Now what comes in my mind after I read the question? It comes in my mind that what is a fungi? I immediately go to the five kingdom classification of R.H. Whittaker, and then I recall that fungi was a type in which there were eukaryotes placed, There are five kingdoms. Number one, Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animae. So we should know the broad classification, the broad characteristics of each and every kingdom, and then you immediately recall for all the for all the things that you know about fungi, and then you look for all the four options, and then you choose the incorrect one. Even if you know that one of them is 100% incorrect, but still look for the other three, you might get an additional information. Let's say I know that this is 100% correct. I know that this is 100% correct. I know that this is 100% false, but I don't know about the fourth option. Obviously, I'll mark my answer as second because I know that this is wrong. But what about the fourth option? I'll just learn it and I will just keep it in my mind so that the next time when the same question comes, or when the same conceptual question comes with the different options or with some modifications, I know that the fungi can be both unicellular and multicellular. And I will even try to look up for some books what are the fungi that are unicellular, and they are the yeasts. Now next come to another type of it is the same type of question, but it is again a question which asks you does not. Always look out for this word while you are trying to attempt the MCQs. So in this again in this type of question you will learn three things which are there and one thing which is not. Next, so it's just a normal, and let's move to the next question. Next question is from biotechnology. It is a very important topic in NEET or in AIMT, because many researches are being done nowadays on gene therapy and stuff like that. So they tend to ask about this a lot. Let's say what the question says, what I can grab from the question here. A foreign DNA and plasmid cut by the same restriction endonuclease can be joined to form a recombinant plasmid using. This is the question. I am not reading the options right now. What can I get from the question? Number one, I can get to join the foreign DNA and plasmid, I need to use the same restriction endonuclease. Okay. Emphasize on the word same. You get to know this point and this thing, and then you look at the options, and then you think, yeah, I know the answer, but I know the answer is ligase, but I will also look for the functions of other three while you are trying to study from the multiple choice questions. This is how you will have to keep in mind that when the examiner is making a question paper, he will not just randomly put any four options. He will never and never just randomly put four options. Those four options, believe me or not, they are the four options which people tick or many students answer while attempting a question. Let's say I asked you a normal random mathematical question, and then uh, I asked 100 students their answer. I know the correct answer is I is one answer, but I ask 100 students the answer, and then I see that many students are answering something else, which is not the actual answer. So what I will think is, why are they answering this? What is their thought process, which most of the students are going through? So examiner tries to look for the mistakes that you do, and you have to overcome that. So while studying the MCQs, don't ever neglect the three incorrect options. They may seem to be incorrect, but they are definitely correct for some other question or for some other thinking process by which many students land upon them. Let's move to the next question. Which of the following sets of diseases caused by a bacteria? Now, what do you interpret from this disease? From this question, what you interpret is that some bacteria can cause a disease. That we all know that. But what should come to your mind that if can cause disease, what else can cause the diseases? Well, viruses should come to your mind, protozoa should come to your mind. Then you should try to recall what are the bacterial diseases that I know, what are the viral diseases that I know, what are the protozoal diseases that I know, and then you should look for the options. And then you should try to see each and every option. Cholera is caused by a bacteria, tetanus is caused by a bacteria. You got the right answer, but yet you will look for all the three next options and try to figure out how is typhoid caused, how is smallpox caused? How is tetanus caused? How is mumps caused? How is herpes caused? How is influenza caused? Because they might tend to ask this in the next year, or maybe a year after that, you never know. But these are the diseases that are very frequently asked, and that are very very high yield topics for multiple choice questions or for entrance exam related to medical students. Now let's move to the next question. This is a very high yield and very important topic for any of the branches of medicine, then that is endocrinology. You should know each and every disease of how and when there is an hypersecretion or hyposecretion of an endocrine hormone. So let's say there is a question, Graves disease caused due to. Now what you will come to your mind is, what is Graves disease? Maybe some of you have heard of it, maybe some of you have not. But even if you don't know the answer, you will try to look for it. Let's say you look for it and then you got your answer that it is hypersecretion of thyroid gland. But will you stop there? And if you stop there, then believe me or not, you are going to end up in a bad state, because maybe in the next exam they won't ask for the Graves disease. They will ask for the disease which is caused due to hypersecretion of adrenal gland. They will ask for the disease which is caused for the hyposecretion of adrenal gland. And here I'm not going much in details about the answers, because as you all know that biology is very vast, and we are not here to talk about the biology or anything, but we are here to talk about just how you can learn from the multiple choice question. So my only advice is, whenever you are trying to solve some multiple choice questions, always look for the question first. Keep your hand on the options, and then look for the question, read the question, try to grab the information you can from the question, then try to look for what the question is asking you, and then look for the options, try to match your option, and then look for the other three options. In what possible cases could that be the option correct? I hope you all like my video, and in some of the previous videos I've talked about how you can solve the multiple choice questions, about how some tips on tips on AIPMT and stuff like that. So you can definitely look that up on my channel. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you like it.